I do no harm to myself, my family, my community, other families or communities who live in peace and unity with others. I am protection.
This is our 8th discussion of the universal law called I am protection. It is one of the 11 universal social laws represented by the guiding principles of peace and unity. In our recent talks about I am protection, we discussed the sexual abuse of black children. We will continue that discussion. Today, we will focus on the resources needed to help decrease pedophilia. The universal law, I am protection, and its premise, do good, do no harm, require that we have this difficult discussion. We have no culture of self-love if we allow the abuse of our children. That depends on us addressing the problem of pedophilia by decreasing the number of pedophiles. Before we get deeply into this, let's understand that there are 3 areas critical to the success of the black community in Africa and the African diaspora. They are culture, education, and economics. In this video series, we continue to examine issues and concepts related to creating a culture to develop self-love, which those who care about the black community may examine and consider. When we talk about creating a culture of self-love, we must first define culture, because most of us have wrong ideas about culture. We think culture is the music we listen to, or the style of clothing we wear, or our celebrations and holidays, or whether we eat with a fork, knife, or spoon, or eat with our hands. Those things and activities are not culture. Culture is entirely more powerful and deep. The word culture comes from the word cultivate, which is related to the domestication and growth of plants. Culture is like a gardener who cultivates a young plant by tying it to a stand for support, putting it in a certain location, and watering it. The gardener does that to foster the growth of the plant, to become tall and strong, so it does not grow bent and crooked, so it does not become a weed. The gardener does this with labor, care, and study to ensure that her plants are the best. Culture is actually a system to cultivate and civilize people. This is done by tying people to universal laws and standards of behavior based on a foundational premise. Do good, do no harm. So people will grow strong, not bent and crooked. When you don't have a culture based on universal laws and standards of behavior, anything goes. You can fall for anything, and any kind of evil can affect you. If you care about the children, women, and men of black communities, you will use labor, care, and study to make sure that they are at their best. Tie yourself, your family, and community to the universal social laws called the guiding principles of peace and unity. I meditate to relax in all situations. I am peace. I bring and keep together the families and communities who live in peace and unity with others. I am unity. I learn how to learn. I am knowledge. I create for myself, my family, and my community. I am power. I obey the laws of my family and community that are in harmony
with peace and unity. I am law. I do no harm to my family, other families, or my community. I am protection. I choose the feelings, thoughts, and actions that are in harmony with the principles of peace and unity. I am control. I have fun and work with my family and my community. I am cooperation and harmony. I am careful about what I believe. I accept ideas and beliefs that are in harmony with these guiding principles. I am correct ideas and beliefs. With all my heart, I take care of my family, other families, and communities that are living according to the principles of peace and unity. I am devotion. I keep a clean body. I have clean habits. I eat healthy food. I exercise. I care for my environment and planet. I abuse no substance or drug. I am strength.
These laws are how your ancient ancestors built advanced civilizations that lasted for thousands of years. There is plenty of information now available about the achievements of your ancestors. Many of us admire the great pyramids and temples and the apparent wealth of our ancestors. But what is most important to understand about these achievements is that they came from your advanced social organization. Social organization based on universal laws and standards of behavior. Please do not ignore this reality in this science. This is what is important for you as Black people and Black communities to understand today. This is what the guiding principles of peace and unity will do for you today. This is the path to survival and prosperity for Black people. Currently, we are living in varying levels of social chaos, corruption, poor health, and economic stagnation as a result of holding on to ideas, beliefs, and behaviors that came to us through slavery and colonialism. It is these ideas, beliefs, and behaviors which have destroyed self-love within us and within our communities, and are the source of most of our problems. They prevent us from advancing culturally, economically, or even being able to solve those problems. To overcome the obstacles, we need a new way of thinking, and we need new leadership. A new way of thinking and a leadership that embraces and uses the universal laws represented by the guiding principles of peace and unity to guide Black people into the future. That is what the true meaning of Afrofuturism is. An African future based not on clothing styles and music styles, a future based on establishing a culture of self-love on a foundation of universal laws. Let's again look at the universal law called I am protection. The principle says, I do no harm to myself, my family, my community, other families, and communities who live in peace and unity with others. To understand what that really means and make it real, we must now look at the violations of I am peace. The violations tell us how to live according to I am protection and the other guiding principles of peace and unity, and make it part of our cultural expression, standard, and tradition. The violations are sexual harassment, sexual abuse, assault, child abuse, crimes against humanity, murder, rape, animal cruelty, verbal abuse, bullying, kidnapping, torture or cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment, distributing and selling substances that cause addiction, unjust war, enslavement, extortion. What is good about these violations is that our community can conduct discussions and even debates to come to consensus about their validity, about how to hold each other accountable and responsible for them, so that we can cleanse ourselves of these violations. With I am protection and the other guiding principles of peace and unity as a foundation, culture will 1. Prepare you for life. 2. Foster your growth. 3. Improve you as a person and as a community. 4. Help you solve problems. You can always download a copy of all the guiding principles of peace and unity and their violations at our website, thegppu.org. We will help you understand them and show you how they might be used. Now, back to the universal law called I am protection and child sexual abuse. We've talked about children being the most important resource and legacy that we have. They grow into our future. What you teach them and what you give them will play a role in what happens to them in the future and what happens to you. They will create your future. Pedophilia is a threat to that future. So we must eliminate that threat. How can we do that? First, we must protect our children in the ways we've previously discussed in the other I Am Protection videos. There are links in the description. But one important challenge is that pedophiles hide in plain sight. They are members of our families. They may be our children's friends. They may be helpful neighbors who are always willing to ease our burden and watch our children when we have to do a double or triple shift at work. They may be trusted members of our religious communities. They generally gravitate to schools, after-school programs, sports programs, and other environments where they can legitimately get near and have access to children. Constant vigilance is required, and that's what we talked about in our previous I Am Protection videos. But science says there are 2 general categories of pedophile. The first are people who consistently fantasize about sexual relationships with children, but are not actively involved in any sexual relationship with children. There are several therapeutic approaches available to you or someone you know if you are a member of this group, especially if you self-select and seek treatment. By seeking treatment for your fantasies, you can remain anonymous. You can remain anonymous if you have not acted on your fantasies. You can remain anonymous if you have not voiced a plan to act out your fantasy. You can remain anonymous if you have no family or employment contact with a child or children. You can remain anonymous if no child is in your care in jeopardy. You have not caused injury. You have not committed a crime. Your objective is to manage your fantasies and impulses so that you do no harm. This is the wisest and most productive path for you to take. In the description for this video are resources that can help you. Please use them. The second group is for active pedophiles who have been sexually involved with children. You have caused harm, so your path is more challenging. Every therapist, counselor, or doctor is mandated to report past and present cases of child abuse, and when that child is or could be in danger of abuse. When caught, you will spend time in prison. Your name will be placed on a national sex offender registry database for 20 to 30 years, or for the rest of your life. In most jurisdictions, the places where you will be able to live after incarceration will be extremely limited. Because of that, it will be difficult for authorities to find a safe place for you to live. I mean safe for children. In some jurisdictions, you may be held in prison for years after your official prison date because of that. You will have also therapeutic and medical resources available to you to help you. There are resources in the description of this video. But the fact that you have done harm to a child will follow you and obstruct you for the rest of your life. Your behavior is creating other responses by society. The state of Ohio has just passed legislation that allows the death penalty for those who have sexually abused children under the age of 12. Other states will likely follow. One extreme and misguided response to your behavior is that a 19-year-old who has sexual relationships with a 17-year-old can now be placed on the National Sex Offender Registry. That is a bit of a miscarriage of justice, but a reaction to your behavior. Now, as Black people, we must gain control of our economics. Why? With our own economics, we can put resources towards addressing this problem. Then we can give material support for those in our community so that we can educate and train, and those who provide other services to heal others. But since we don't have control of our economics at this time, we will continue to focus on education, using outside resources, and networking. We ask that you share this information with trustworthy family members, friends, and community. You will have to be gentle and diplomatic about it, but teach and share. If someone in your family or community is challenged with pedophilia, you can direct them to find positive and productive paths towards helping them. Critical to healing is sharing education and information that will help those who have this illness. You can share this video and the other I Am Protection videos. That is what the universal law called I Am Protection asks you to do. Following is a short video program that follows this information to help you and those who are suffering from pedophilia. Please watch it. There are more links and resources related to protecting our children from child sexual abuse, healing our children who have suffered the trauma of abuse, as well as resources for pedophiles. There are also links related to the epidemic of our missing Black children, women, and men. We hope that you will also share those links. That is the way to create a culture of self-love based on the universal social law called I Am Protection. Please don't turn away. Our children need you. You can watch our previous discussions about the guiding principles of peace and unity on our Facebook and YouTube platforms. Until we meet again, do good, do no harm.
There are many resources for people struggling with pedophilia and sexual abuse against children. One of the things that we know from the sex offender community who have already engaged in abuses toward children is that they had most of the time fantasized, had desires about, inclinations regarding sexual activity with children prior to engaging in those acts. So it's very important that if you're having any kind of fantasies, any desires, any inclinations, and you're an adult toward children, that you seek help immediately. And what this looks like is not just going to a general psychologist or a therapist, but somebody who specializes in sex offender treatment. If you're already connected with the sex offender community because you've been registered as a sex offender or have been identified and charged with sex offense, then you've been connected with resources as you re-entered back into the community. And so it's very important to engage actively in those treatment programs and services so that you could prevent engaging in any other behaviors that are similar in the future.